Hi, I'm Roselynn Cockburn, a marketing director out of Valley Stream, New York, and we're going to talk about how to do an effective one-on-one presentation. Let's jump right into it. The first thing you want to do when sitting down with your candidate is you want to build a connection. You want to take about 5 to 10 minutes, get to know your candidate, get to know who they are and what they do and what drives them and so forth. And if you don't know how to start the conversation, what you can do is use an acronym that we call FORM. You can form them. The F in FORM stands for family. Ask them questions like, hey, are you married? Do you have any kids? People love talking about their family. It's great to understand they have a spouse. That's information that you can leverage in the future. It's easy for them to talk about things that are relatable in that sense. Then we have O, occupation. Hey, what do you do for work? What do you do for income? Ask them that to find out a little bit more about, what they do, who they are, right? Then there's R for recreation. What this means is you can ask them, hey, what do you like to do for fun? This is a nice question that, kind of relaxes the individual when you talk about the things that they're passionate about and, what they do for fun, whether it's spending time with their family or maybe they have a specific hobby, right? And then there's M. M stands for message. And what this really entails is that they're going to hear the message about who we are and what we do. So in building a rapport and so forth and having the conversation to kind of relax and warm up the candidate, it is important to find out what drives them. This is information that if you choose to bring this candidate on board, that if you understand what drives them, as entrepreneurs, we have our rough days and things can go awry. But if you're their trainer and you know what drives them, whether it's their family or just hitting a certain goal or income, you can remind them of that and really get them back on course and get them to drive that direction they need to hit that goal. Next, a very important aspect that you need to understand and know is whether they have any knowledge about our company. Hey, what do you know about WFG? Have you heard of WFG before? Some may say they haven't. Some may say they do. If they do, you really want to get that understanding because you don't want them to go into this presentation with certain connotations or certain ideas of what WFG is. You want to actually address that early enough so that they have an open mind about what they're going to hear or what they listen to. So if they have an objection about WFG, you want to make sure you resolve it. And once you resolve it and they're looking to move forward, you want to do that. All that's clear, you build the rapport and so forth. Let's go into the presentation. So when starting the presentation, you want to talk about who we are and what we do, right? And the first thing that we talk about is the strength behind WFG, the relationship between Aegon, Transamerica, and WFG. Now, we all know that Aegon is a company that's been around for over 200 years, is one of the 9 companies too large to fail, too big to fail. And it's a company that is not going anywhere. And this is an important fact to mention because you want the candidate to know that we're not a small company. We're not a company that may not be around in 5 to 10 years. We're going to be here for a while, right? You also want to talk about Transamerica and how they're on the top 10 broker dealers in the nation. And if you have a female candidate, you want to emphasize how Transamerica is the top broker dealer for women in financial services. Where World Financial Group comes into this relationship is that World Financial Group is the marketing and distribution arm of financial services. Because World Financial Group has the relationship with Transamerica and Aegon, the next slide will talk about the strength and selection. You want to talk about how, most importantly, WFG don't own any products, but we work with A-rated companies that trust us to be able to market and just distribute their products. In this slide, you can ask them whether they are familiar with any of these companies and whether or not they may have done business with them in the past. Kind of gives you an idea of where they stand and what their understanding is of the financial industry. But what this slide really is trying to show them is that we have diversity, and because we have diversity in products, we are able to help most families in the industry, if not all. And after giving them clarity and understanding that we have a variety of different companies, A-rated companies, and variety of different products in the financial arena that we can offer to clients, you want to talk about the next slide, which is the 4 cornerstones, the education that we provide our clients. You want to first talk about the first cornerstone, which is protection, and how protection means different things for different people. It can be protecting yourself, protecting your assets, protecting your retirement, protecting your family. Then you go on to talk about growth. We work very hard for our money, but we need to understand how our money can work very hard for us and the different ways that we can grow our money. Then talk about safety and how it's important to understand the impact of market loss, and then making sure that you protect as much as your principal as possible. And then lastly, we want to talk about tax advantages. We educate people about the different ways that our money gets taxed and the different vehicles they can put their money in that's tax advantaged. Once you explain to them that these are the type of education that we give our clients, you want to let them know how we apply that education. So the next slide would be the 6 steps to financial independence. It's your financial checkup. Is this how we are able to help families get closer to their goal of financial independence? Step 1, we look at your cash flow. How much is coming in? How much is coming out? We create a budget for you, and we make sure that you're the first expense you pay towards your future and your goals. And any discretionary income that you have, we look at creating that emergency fund, step 2. Society says we should have about 3 to 6 months of emergency fund, but as we can see today in this pandemic, you need at least 9 to 12 months of an emergency fund. So we help our clients establish an emergency fund so that if an emergency were to hit, they have enough money to deal with the emergency and not be debt reliant. Step 3, you don't want them to pull that credit card out and be that the source of what would help them in an emergency situation. Not only do we not want that, we want to help our clients strive to eliminate debt, whether it's through debt consolidation programs or just putting together a plan to pay off the debt quicker. So that's the 3rd step we help them with. The 4th step is making sure they have the proper protection in place. Making sure you have the right life insurance or disability insurance. If you're dealing with a business owner, having business continuation plans in place or just business overhead insurance. These are different types of protections that can be in place. Is their retirement protected? Looking at these different types of protection. 5th step, building wealth. We talked about how hard we work for our money, but is your money in vehicles that is giving you interest that's outpacing the rate of inflation? Having them understand that we look at where our clients have their money and making sure that their money is working so that they can keep up with inflation, if not be above that. And lastly, preserving that wealth. Having the correct documentation in place so that if something were to happen, that your wealth transferred to your heirs, charity, or whoever you want your monies and your assets to go to. You don't want the government deciding that. They may not know what your wishes are. So you want to make sure you have the proper documentation in place, and we help you get through that. It's important after you go through the 6 steps to ask an important question. Do you think with the proper training, you can see yourself sharing this information with people? You wait for an answer. If they say no, offer them a complimentary financial needs analysis. If they say yes, you move on to the next slide. So now the next slides have 2 options. You can do timing is everything. Now with the timing of everything, this talks about being at the right place at the right time. It talks about the baby boomer generation, where the Gerbers of the world and real estate and different cars, Ford Motor Companies, all these different companies were able to flourish during their generation because they were just at the right place at the right time. The demand for what those products were really needed from those individuals at that time period. Well, come 2022, financial advisors, 200,000 financial advisors will be retiring. And that leaves an open market for financial individuals to be able to serve individuals. Now, when you want to be at the right place at the right time and be in this industry and make money in this industry, so What this slide is really talking about is really letting them know that, this market is not saturated. There's not enough people out here to help the millions and millions of people that are here in the United States, Puerto Rico, and Canada. So there's no worry about whether or not you can be successful here. There's a market for it. Or you can do the unique business platform slide. This is the slide that talks about all the uniqueness of our opportunity, how you can test drive it to part-time, the leadership and development, mentorship programs that we have, the world-class recognition events, the technology that we have to help build the opportunity and build the business, or even wanting to be able to build a business in a different state while you could be here in New York and maybe build a business in Georgia. It's possible. So many different possibilities. So you can choose which slide depending on the candidate and what you feel would be the best approach for them, and actually go through the slide so they understand what this opportunity can bring to them. And in doing so, if you notice they're really excited about the opportunity, the next steps is you want to let them know what it would look like to be a part of this opportunity. And you want to talk about the training that we offer candidates, right? So the first type of training we offer is internal training. The internal training contains 2 different modules, courses that are offered online on demand. The first is business and marketing system courses. This is a step-by-step blueprint on how to build and grow your business utilizing the WFG platform. The second is financial educational courses. This is where you learn different concepts and laws and strategies that will help you make money in this business, as well as have your money work for you. The important thing to note here is that you want to make sure that after explaining the types of internal training that we offer candidates, is that they can commit to completing these modules and courses. So you want to ask them, how do you see these online course trainings fitting into what you're currently doing? Wait for an answer. If they see that it works and that they can commit to actually completing these courses, then you talk about the next type of training we have, which is licensing. And that's external training. It's important when mentioning licensing that you specifically let them know that licensing is their responsibility financially. Being that we're in a highly regulated industry, it is important that you are licensed by the Department of Insurance and FINRA, because they regulate us, in order for you to be able to help clients. And again, licensing is their responsibility financially, and we will guide you on how exactly what you would need to do in order for you to get your license. So you want to ask them, can they commit to getting licensed in this business in order to help clients? You wait for an answer. Next, you want to talk about how we get our clients. So we talked about the training, we talked about what you would need to do to help clients. They're probably very curious to know, well, how do we get our clients? Well, so many people are searching for financial literacy and education in this industry. And the average person is not provided with that type of information. It's important to mention to the candidate that we don't do any cold calling, we don't do telemarketing, we don't knock on people's doors or anything like that. What we do have is a referral-based system that's built on trust factor. So because this is a huge need for what it is that we do need more people to be trained and go out there and just help individuals learn more about financial literacy. So we will teach you how to build a business around the needs and get your clients on a warm leads referral basis system. So you want to ask, how many people do you know that needs to hear this message and receive this information? And you want to wait for an answer. And this question is really important because you want to see that they understand that there's a need for what we do. If they are able to really articulate that, that is something you want to consider in offering them the opportunity. So now that we've told them how we get our clients, they're probably wondering, okay, I know that we get trained and I know we need a license. I know how we get our clients, but how do we get paid? So you want to emphasize how the financial industry is the highest paying industry out here right now, right? You know, use an example of how much a part-timer makes on average using this opportunity. So let's say you're a part-timer and you help about 4 clients a month, which is like 1 client a week. Say that you help a family save about $200 a month towards their future. On average, the compensation for that is about $1,000 per client, which is about $4,000 a month. Part-time, that's part-time income. So if you're helping 4 clients a month, save $1,000, you make it $4,000 a month, that's additional income that you make. But if you help 5 other people help 4 clients a month, you can make an additional $200,000 on top of whatever personal income that you make. Not only that, you can be well in a position to become a broker. Traditionally in the industry, it can take 3 to 5 years for you to become a broker. But here, it can happen much faster than that. It's under your control. So you want to get a sense and let them know that there's money to be made here. And it may not be as difficult as one may think. So giving them a sense of how much we get paid and how much we can make in this industry is crucial here. After teaching them about how we make our money, the last thing you want to talk about is the amount of time that they will need to invest in this opportunity. So the one thing that's unique about WFG is that we allow you to start part-time. Typically in the industry, you're either all in or all out. But we believe in giving you an opportunity to start part-time to really see how this opportunity could work for you and giving you the ability to make money and, try it out while you're still at your other opportunity until you feel comfortable enough and making enough money to go in full-time and make this your full-time business. It's kind of like a transition. So it's important that they understand that you don't have to leave anything you're doing now. You can test drive this opportunity, see if it fit both on our end and your end, and then we can move forward. Tell them that time commitment can be anywhere from 10 to 15 hours a week. That's including studying for a license, sitting down and doing field trainings and so forth. And importantly, you want to ask them on a part-time basis, you want to let them know, is that something that's feasible for them, the 10 to 15 hours. This gives them this will give you a sense of whether or not they're willing to commit to the amount of time it would take for them to successfully build their business. And anytime you do ask a question, you want to make sure that you wait for an answer. And it may take a little longer than usual for a response, but it's important to get that response. So after you've gotten their commitment on being able to commit time and commit to getting licensed and commit to learning our processes and getting clients and so forth, you now want to go in for the close. This is the important part, right? We call this the something closing. Here, I like to ask a candidate, given what they've learned and everything, what can they bring to the table? How can they bring value? How can they enhance our organization by being a part of our organization? And I let them talk for a little bit. This will kind of do what I like to call a temperature check to see how excited and interested they are in the opportunity. Then next I'll say, I will be willing to give you a shot. You want to compliment them. You're intelligent, you're smart, you're sharp. You really, truly look like you love helping people. And, we like that. But you want to do a takeaway. Compliment them, but always do a takeaway. Tell them that you would love to work with them, but we need to make sure that we can work together on a legal basis. We're in a highly regulated industry where we need to make sure that you can work in this industry without issue. In doing so, you also will need to get an agent code and explain what that agent code is and what the access that it gives, right? So the agent code is $100 to complete and it's part of your licensing responsibility. which I mentioned earlier is your responsibility financially to complete. You always want to make emphasis on that they're responsible financially for any licensing costs and agent code costs. When mentioning the agent code, you want to let them know that it will give them access to a multi-million-dollar website. It will give them automatic access to contracts with the hundreds of companies that we do business with. In addition to that, they'll have all the tools that they will need to build their business successfully. Now, you don't want to beg. You never want to beg when offering someone the opportunity. Once you've explained to them that they would need an agent code to work with us, and that the agent code is almost like their social security card in the financial, or the social security number in the financial industry, they'll understand that it is required in order for them to be able to work with us. One other aspect that's important for them to understand is that although we love everyone and everyone has potential, we don't work on potential, we work on commitment. Someone who's committed to doing what they need to do to be successful. And you want to ask them if they consider themselves a committed person. Do they commit to the obligations that they put themselves in? And if they say so, yes, then you want to say, well, is there any questions that I can answer you before moving forward with an application? They will need to submit an application in order to be a part of us. And upon approval, then they can move forward. And if they say yes, they're ready to move forward with an application, in the Zoom era, you want to have them share their screen and go to your website or to worldchangers.com and have them join the team. They can fill out the application and submit it. And once they do that, you want to set time for their fast start. And this has to happen within 24 to 48 hours. You want to do it as soon as possible. And you don't want to call it a fast start. You want to let them know that we're going to book some time so we can set up your business plan, your marketing plan, and your financial plan. Now, the business plan is the goals and targets that they're going to hit within the next month. Their marketing plan is a plan that they're going to put together. We're going to help them put together in order to know who they're going to be talking to learn, right? Who's their market that they're going to be training in, right? And then the financial plan is their own personal financial plan, so they can go through what we will do for our clients. They can experience it for themselves, and they can become a client for themselves, so they can be able to express to the people they sit down with how they've been able to help themselves and help their families while doing so and helping others as well. That completes the 101. I hope you guys learned everything that you needed to know, and I will see you at the top.